Hello, everybody, and welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. Today, I, Dave, and Scott is going. That's right. We are going to do The Wiz, starring Diana Ross and Michael Jackson.
I thought you said we were going to take a whiz.
Oh, we're going
Damn.
to take a whiz, and then we're going to talk about The Wiz, but The Wiz, the show. No, seriously. I want to say thank you real fast. I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining us here. I know your time is valuable, and I'm very appreciative that you're spending it with us.
Yes, thank you very much. Hit
Boy, we
like, hit
suffered
subscribe,
genius.
hit share. Yes.
Yes, please, by all means, hit the like, hit the subscribe, like Scott said. If you're listening to this on a podcast, go ahead and give us a 5-star review. Leave
Please.
a message, leave some feedback. It helps us be found in all the universe. It
Yes,
just helps out.
absolutely.
And you said you had never seen The Wiz before, right?
Yeah, I wish I could say that today. I wish I could say, David, I have never seen The Wiz, but unfortunately, I have. I have seen The
My
Wiz.
idea.
You know what? It's okay. I do love a good musical.
Right.
And as I texted you last night, this just moved Xanadu way up in my charts. And if you go back, you'll find out just how Scott feels about Xanadu.
Yeah, we all know
Outside
how
of the,
Scott feels about Xanadu.
I love the Gene Kelly, Olivia Newton-John scenes in Xanadu.
Yes.
I think it is
Yeah.
worth watching the entire movie for. Let me say something about Xanadu. As stupid as Xanadu is, it's entertaining and keeps me
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
This movie had some very long songs, very drawn out, very slow paced.
Hmm.
Not a lot to look at. I'm really struggled to find out where they spent $24 million because they
Yeah.
sure as fuck didn't spend it on the set.
Probably a lot of it was Diana Ross and
And that
Michael
was a
Jackson.
waste. I love Diana Ross, and I'm not even going to
Agree.
disparage her abilities. I just
Mhm.
think she was miscast, and here's one of the biggest things that I had with this movie, and forgive me for jumping all over the place,
Oh,
but
go ahead.
seeing Dorothy as an adult is really hard, and then
Mhm.
she comes across like a special needs adult at that. Uh, so it's like, really, wow, this hurts.
Like she needed medication. Yeah. Yeah. But that,
Yeah.
as you say that, I watched some specials last night. I was watching like little behind the scenes,
Yes.
little unknown. Um, a huge critique of this movie is pretty much what you just said. There's no happiness, there's no joy in her heart, like in the original series or in the original movie, and even in the books. Dorothy's happy.
Yeah.
She's and in the play, evidently. Oh fudge, I forgot the woman's name who portrayed her on Broadway, but she was supposed to be the first choice
Hmm.
to be in the play. I will pull up that name momentarily. I just want to double check it. But Diana Ross was trying to get the part. The producer, the guy who owned the record album or the record company at the time, Motown, said, no, you're too old.
Hmm.
And I think they were either ex-wife and ex-husband at that point, or maybe they were just or maybe this is what threw him over the edge. I don't know. It's him actually telling her no finally on something. She went behind his fucking back, went to other producers, and I think it was Universal did the movie, and said, I can get you Michael Jackson if I get this role. And Michael Jackson was just getting ready to skyrocket, on his own. And basically she stabbed him in the back to get the part. The first director, quit because she got the part.
Interesting.
I also forgot his name, but Lumet stepped in, and he's the guy who finally directed it.
Let me jump on that real quick,
Yeah.
just because Sidney Lumet. I love Dog Day Afternoon, Serpico. I find those to be great, gritty cop dramas, great dramas all around. Sidney Lumet does great drama. I don't think he should have had his hands anywhere near a musical. That's my opinion.
Right. That was he did good stuff in this movie, or
Yes.
the sets. I like the sets. I like it was almost like a nightmare. It was almost like another worldly nightmare, like a bad dream that a kid would have.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
But for me, watching it this time around, had she not been the star, I think it would have felt better. It would have felt more natural. The fact that she was 33 or 34 years old at the time,
34. Yeah.
and then they said, "Oh, well, we're just going to make her 24." And
She still didn't look 24.
She doesn't look 20. She didn't look 24. She looked rough. I mean, I
She had an
understand.
unflattering hairstyle. Makeup
And
was
you know what?
poor. It's like,
I even
what the
understand
hell?
that. I understand like downing her a little bit, making her a little bit dowdy.
But
Man, she looked like she looked like
didn't look
she'd been through an abusive relationship and just bad. And that's again Diana Ross. I've seen her in other movies. She's a pretty good actress. Not fantastic, but I think she's pretty good. The Lady Sings the Blues, she was great in. Against Billy D. Williams.
She had some good moments in this. I mean, she really did. I will say I've got two major problems with this, and then I'll talk about the good as we get through this. The fact that this is adapted from a Broadway production, that's fine, but it felt like it still felt like. What's that?
I just want to find out who would.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, but that it came from a Broadway play, I think is fine, a Broadway musical. But here's something that's weird to me. There's a couple of standout musical numbers in here. Ease on Down the Road I like, and Nobody Tell Me No Bad News or whatever.
Right.
Is a great fucking scene, choreographed well, the music, its energy. And then some of the songs felt like they belonged in a different musical. More classical and, for lack of a better term, a white musical. I love the idea of an Afrocentric Oz and seeing this and updating it, and we're doing it in Harlem or whatever. I liked the graffiti Munchkins, was really fucking cool.
Yeah, that was the creepiest scene coming out of the wall. That was just like, oh, that's like nightmare shit, man.
That was creepy. But it was cool. And I wanted more of that. I wanted more of that funk, more of that soul, more of that vibe of that. But then when it would drop into your standards, I guess, of musicals, it's like, is this two different movies? I mean, could you not decide which way you wanted to go? I don't know. It just, for me, it was very disjointed. It was rough, man. And God damn it, the flying monkeys and those lips. What the fuck was that? Oh, cheetah. Jesus fucking Christ.
I thought the design for the flying monkeys was really cool. Like they were part motors. They were almost like cyborgs. I couldn't tell whether they were supposed to be part of the machine. They were like just, I liked the design. And again, here's a cool little tidbit that I learned last night. Stan Winston was the guy in charge of all those costuming. That's why it all worked so well. It was early in his career, but it all worked.
I'm going to say something about the costuming and the makeup I found to be top notch. Michael Jackson's makeup, to where his skin actually looked like it might have been a bag, was really well done.
That was done good.
The Tin Man, was that Nipsey Russell?
Nipsey Russell. I love Nipsey
His makeup was amazing. The lion, even though it looked like a throwback to the lion from the original Oz, he was great. All the makeup was so well done. And it's just, wow. I was impressed with that.
The thing for me, the thing that actually kills it, and I know I'm going to probably get hate mail, and that's fine.
Well, at least we'll get some mail then.
Yeah, exactly. Is the fact that they used Diana Ross, and I cannot believe I forgot her name. Stephanie Mills is who they should have used. She was the woman. She was a young lady at the time.
Yeah.
She played the part on Broadway for however many years that same thing went on as a younger Dorothy. She she should have just walked right into that role. But Universal, another Hollywood idea, instead of using the Flash on TV, we're going to go get this crazy Flash and use him, the crazy guy.
And see what happens?
Instead of using Stephanie Mills, they got Diana Ross, who was unable to pull it out of the bag. And I honestly think that's what the problem was when it was released at the
Oh
theater.
yeah.
Uh, I have no doubt in my mind. You can't have that kind of a Broadway play hit for I think it was 5 years running,
Hmm.
sold out all the time.
It shouldn't have failed as a
Should
musical
not have
adaptation. It
failed.
happens all the time. We get adaptations,
Hmm.
although I haven't watched the Cats because it looks absolutely crazy.
Nobody likes Cats.
So
I'm not going to watch Cats. When you give the
I'm
little
not either.
pet people that are in costumes buttholes, yeah, it's not. We can still gonna
I don't need CGI. Just honestly, just set a camera at the stage and let me watch the show. I'm good
yeah.
with that.
Why don't they do that? I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah.
Stephanie Mills was a woman's name for the life of me. It flew out of my head, and she should have played the part. She should have been given the part of Dorothy. That's why the original director left. I'm going to go through my
Interesting.
notes unless you have some more, and we'll go through them real
Uh,
quick so we're not here all day.
no, and that's fine. I just want to
Go
back
ahead.
up and reiterate. Um, that was the biggest problem for me was
Mhm.
Diana Ross's age. It was a
Yeah,
hill I could not climb, man. I could not get past that.
that was a
It
hard one.
just felt wrong and just didn't work. Michael Jackson, I thought, was
What a
phenomenal
good
in it.
Scarecrow.
Was great.
And
All
I
the way
think that
down
was
to
his
his,
first acting job.
I
I don't
swear to, really, I
I
swear
think
to
it was.
God, his nose was the wrapper for a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Yes, I said that last night. I was like, that's a Reese's cup.
That's what's like,
Right.
look at that.
That's
He's got a Reese's
brilliant.
cup on his nose before his nose fell off. And,
Yeah,
he went fucking nuts.
he should have
That's a
kept the
whole nother
Reese's. He
podcast.
should have
Yeah.
kept the Reese's cup notes. It
He
worked.
was, he was good. The makeup was great. The performances were good.
He was
Like
like
I said
19 or
earlier, I
15.
love the scene when she goes to the Wicked Witch of the West to fight her. It
Hmm.
was resolved a little quickly, but that musical
Yeah.
number I thought was really good.
The Wicked Witch of the West was played by bum 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 bum. If I can find the names that I wrote down,
Yeah.
I can never remember anybody's names. Oh, not important. I'm sure it's in my notes somewhere.
Glinda was Lena Horne,
Yeah,
and
all
she was.
that voice.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
voice.
her voice is great, but that whole scene was creepy with the
Yeah,
little floating
the little
babies.
people. Yeah, the floating babies was just like, that's. Are you a good witch? No, you're evil. You
What
have
the
floating
fuck?
babies around you.
But that's honestly, yeah, that's my notes on it. It was like, oh my god.
I'm just going to go through mine real quick, folks,
Alrighty.
because I did honestly. If I had a little kid, I would prop them down in front of this and watch it because it's to me, it's good for a kid. I mean, if think of the stuff that I don't know if you remember banana splits. They were
Yeah,
on when I was younger.
yeah. Okay,
Um,
I can see why you said that.
the banana splits, and then you have the
That
kid with
made
the
me.
magic flute. What was that one? The kid with the magic flute. He goes.
I'm not sure, but I did like the crows.
The crows were awesome.
The crows were
The
good.
crows were freaking awesome.
Crows
This
were good.
movie made me want to see this play.
Yeah,
Honestly, it made me want to see the
because I want to
stage
see it
play.
done right.
Exactly, exactly. And it looks like it would be an amazing stage play.
It could be. It
If it
could
ever
be.
roams around anywhere near me, I'll probably go try and get some
Yeah,
tickets
I
for
can
it.
see that.
Traveling shows are awesome, folks. If a traveling Broadway play comes near your house, go see it if you can, because they're
Yeah.
freaking amazing. If you're in Broadway and, whenever they clean up the crime a little bit in New York, go see a play because they're freaking awesome.
Yeah.
The first
There
song,
is there. I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
tack on that since I haven't been to Broadway. I have caught a lot of local musicals here that
Right.
the colleges have done, and they have been phenomenal. The last one I went to was Young Frankenstein, which was
No shit.
hilarious. And then before that, they did Jesus Christ Superstar, which I absolutely love that production.
Cool.
So there's some good stuff locally, but I do love musical theater. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's great.
But this, oh man,
You know what? I may have said this on one of our podcasts before. I was Snoopy and you're a good man, Charlie Brown, in high school. I see your breath is taken away. We'll just go on to our notes.
I remember that.
Fuck you.
I just remember my boss talking about doing something very similar.
The look you just gave me was like, fuck you, Dave.
No, I remember the stories of Snoopy.
Okay, here we go. Did I tell you that already? Oh my god.
Yeah. Dude, we've known each other for years. Yes,
I know. I'm starting to repeat my stories. Just guess what? They're all new to me now because I have Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah, I'm with you.
First song,
CRS.
totally out of place. She just starts singing, and I have no idea what she's singing about. They're having a family dinner, and she sits down in the kitchen and starts singing the most fucking depressing song I've ever heard. And I'm like, where is this coming from? They haven't even established any characters yet.
No.
Nothing. She's just depressed. And I always thought that this was in Detroit, but it's supposed to be Harlem. Growing up in Detroit, knowing Diana Ross was one of the Motown singers,
right?
And I think Nipsey Russell, I think Michael Jackson went through, I think some of his music. Yeah, Jackson 5 went through Motown. I just assumed as a kid that it was Detroit. Nope. Second song is also out of place. There's absolutely, once again, no context for the song.
That's what I'm saying. Some of these early songs are like, what the fuck? This doesn't even feel right.
I like the storm effect though when she's running outside.
Sure.
That actually looks like she's running in snow.
Yeah.
That actually looked like she was like in a bad windy snowstorm.
Mm-hmm.
The Snornado, I love that coming down the street.
Yeah.
With snow and tornado. See what I did there, folks? I'm clever.
Yeah.
Anyway. And then I was going to write who wrote this, but then I found out Joel Schumacher wrote this. Joel Schumacher. Tell them who Joel Schumacher is, Scott.
Joel Schumacher, we have to thank for many productions and many things, but he is most notably known for Batman nipples. Yeah, Batman Forever. Moving on. Or was it Batman and Robin? Which one was it?
He did two of them. He did
never mind. The two I haven't seen, so.
I watched most of one of them.
I saw bits and pieces long enough to turn it off.
The very last one with Iceman or with
oh God,
Mr. Freeze in it.
Yeah.
I got 5 minutes into that movie, 10 minutes into that movie. I turned it off. I've never turned it back on again. I've never even tried to rewatch it. It was so terrible. It was so awful. Anyway, we're moving on. I'm still in notes. The Crows were awesome, like we said.
Yeah.
The third song made perfect sense when they're in the like almost like a skating rink park area, and that's where the people are coming out of the graffiti.
Yeah, the Munchkins are graffiti.
That song makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That whole dance scene was awesome. It made sense. I loved some of the choreography in this. It was the dance numbers were absolutely terrific. The lion, when he says his full name, Fleetwood Coupe de Ville.
I loved it,
my mother had dreams for me or something like that. That was great.
That right there is the energy I wanted to see through the entire thing.
Yeah, exactly.
We're at the crest of blaxploitation films at this point in the 70s. Let's roll with it, man. Embrace it. And it feels like they were afraid to be black in this movie. So
and what's really weird is like that crow song with the crows. I looked over at the wife. I was like, I'm surprised this movie's ever shown anymore. I said, because they're basically the crows from Dumbo.
Which
and they took the crows out
kind of hard to watch.
Live action. But I love the crows. And to me, I know what everybody says. You know, they're racist, they're this or that. As a kid growing up, even as an adult watching them, I never see that. I just see crows being crows.
Yeah.
That's how I would always assume a crow would talk if I was talking to a crow. They would be smart ass, they'd be smart, they'd be sneaky, they'd be smarmy, and they'd probably outsmart me a lot, especially if I was a scarecrow.
Oh, no. And and that's one of the things that we always caution each other about and have to remind ourselves that we cannot look at older productions through 2020 lenses. No. This time period. But I thought that too. It's like, the crows. Is this going to be like the crows in Dumbo? No, not really.
Not really. But they were very inner city crows. I mean,
they have dialect.
I mean, I've seen doves, I've seen pigeons, and I've seen crows all in New York. They are not your average birds. They do not give a shit that you think you're on top of the food chain. They don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like the crows a lot. I like how they manipulated the
Yeah,
scarecrow
yeah, the whole time.
and Michael Jackson constantly pulling out newspaper stuffing and reading little clip.
Yeah,
I thought that was cute. I really liked
it's the
that. And
brains. Yeah, that
yeah,
was
and
fantastic.
he I read a lot of reviews of this
Uh,
movie when I was after I watched it,
right,
and just to
right,
see, it's like, are my thoughts the same as other people's?
right,
In some
right.
cases, yes, others not. But I thought way too much criticism about Michael Jackson
Really,
on this, because I thought he was great.
as far as I know,
So
it was like his first acting gig.
yeah, and he was so good.
Yeah,
You take what you will and what you know about what happens with Michael Jackson. I don't care. This is about
right.
right now, and it's he's really good in it.
Yeah,
So
when he was I think he was 19.
yeah,
Interesting. The second director, I think it was the second director, was trying to get him to get the part. And of course, Michael Jackson's father, we all know what a loving, dear,
oh
caring
yeah.
father he was vehemently against it. He was basically blocking this guy at every move to keep Michael in the Jackson Five because that was his bread and butter.
That was his
The guy
ticket.
had
Yeah.
no talent himself, but boy, he was going to really push his kid. Somehow, the director, I think it was the second director, got Michael Jackson and LaToya Jackson away from the Jackson family. I don't know how he did it, but he put them up in a private hotel and gave them security to keep that man away from them.
Wow.
That's what
Wow.
I found out last night. I want to look more into that just for my own sake. But
That's
the story,
interesting.
it sounds like, is that was when Michael Jackson and LaToya finally looked around and were like, "Fuck,
Fuck this.
this is life. This is what we're missing," kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's when they just Michael Jackson. After that, three major albums come out. Quincy Jones, boom, boom, boom. Worked
Yeah.
with Quincy Jones on all three of his first big albums. Amazing, fucking
And you know,
amazing.
seeing Quincy Jones's name attached to this, I was expecting more. So that was probably another little
Well,
bit
he
with
didn't
it.
enjoy. Evidently, he did not enjoy working on this because
Oh.
it wasn't more like the play like he wanted it to be.
Hmm.
And Quincy is a master at what he does.
Yeah.
When you have a guy like Quincy Jones, even back in '79, because by then he had probably about 20 plus years experience, you let the guy do it.
He
For
knows
whatever
what
reason,
works. Look
for
at
whatever
the
reason,
stars he's created.
yeah, couldn't get what he wanted. But him and Michael Jackson formed a good friendship and good
Yes.
bond.
Oh my
And that's
God.
when Michael said, "Hey, why don't you come over and do my albums?" Boom, boom, boom.
We
Three in
know
a
what
row.
happened after
His
that.
biggest albums. Mabel King, that was her name. Was
Mabel King. Is
Evil
that
Lynn.
Mama from What's Happening?
Yes, Mama from What's
Yeah.
Happening. God, love, and that costume was really cool that she was wearing.
It
The dress,
was.
her face
It
was all made up. It's like, wow, that's a really
That whole scene, though, I tell you what, that you know, when we talk about we go back to Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. It's
right,
not a movie that I enjoyed per se.
right.
However, there's some scenes in there that are phenomenal, and I always
Yeah,
recommend.
yeah,
This reminded me of that. This is like, bam, there's the standout scene to me, was that
right.
whole sweatshop, and it's like, this is great. And all I could think of is these poor dancers. How many takes did they have, and how much energy did they have afterwards? Because if you watch, the energy
Oh
is
yeah,
so intense, and there's so much movement as they're at the
it's
sewing
crazy.
machines and everything. It's just like, wow.
And they're all doing the hand, and it's
Yes,
all at
and
the same
jumping at the
time.
same time.
Because
Yes.
as we watch movies, I start looking for people that are out of sync. I know it's stupid.
Yes.
I
No.
know it's stupid, but I do. And I didn't see anybody that stood out as being out of sync on anything.
No.
That's amazing.
No.
That's an amazing
Great
take.
choreography.
I don't know how many it took them, how many takes it took,
Yeah.
but they did a great job. The fire alarm scene was nice when it starts raining and they're all standing there and they start taking off their costumes.
That was cool. And then we get a
skin.
nice dance number of everybody in their underwear.
Yeah, that was.
I'm not complaining.
I'm not complaining here. I'm old. I'm old. I'll take it. Richard Pryor had a couple of really nice moments in this.
Yeah.
And
He didn't have enough.
I think I texted. No, he did not have enough time in this. He plays the Wiz, the guy that they're all going to talk to. When they finally find him, and he's in a bed, he's covered up, and they confront him, and he starts freaking out, and he's basically having a panic attack.
Yeah.
you know, because I can't do this. And instead of the wizard, him telling the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow what they have, Dorothy winds up doing it. And I thought that was a terrible takeaway for his character to not be the one to say that. That's where I think I think this whole thing probably needed a second rewrite, third rewrite maybe. But with that said, with what Richard Pryor had, it brought a tear to my eye when he was talking to all these.
Oh, he worked with what little he had.
And then he's got a tear, and I'm just like, Richard Pryor's crying. I'm about ready to start babbling like a little girl, But he did a good job. He really did, folks. If for no other reason you watch this movie, go to that scene towards the end where he's doing his monologue and he's trying to explain to them why he made them go kill the witch and stuff. It's really well done.
Yeah. And that brings me to one of my biggest complaints about the movie is when they walk in, you see there's just a cot in the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
It's like somebody set this up as a high school stage production. There's hardly, and this is almost every set, there is hardly any set. There's hardly anything there. It doesn't feel alive. It feels very dead. It's very barren. It's really, things are shot so far away that it's just, I think there's a lot of bad choices in this. And
the cinematography needed a lot of work in this.
It did.
A lot of work.
I mean, that's what they chose to go with. I just think it was poor choices.
And I get the mechanicalness of it. I get the industrialized look of it. But like you said,
there needed to be more.
there needed to be, because when they did it, when they showed you the industrial type sets, they worked really well.
Yeah.
But there wasn't enough of them.
They were very small, like the scene with the Tin Man and the circus, little tiny spot. The Scarecrow had a little tiny spot, almost like the curtains opened. Here's your stage. Here's your stage. And it's like, you guys do know you're doing a movie, right? You could build this and make it alive. The only spot of
widescreen.
the graffiti, the Munchkins at the beginning, there was so many people, it felt kind of alive. And when they finally came into the Emerald City, it felt alive. That was a stupid, long drawn out fucking scene right there. Now is the colors. I thought they were going to go through every color in the goddamn rainbow. It's like, come on, can we move on? There's
a theory about that. And I found this out last night. The theory about him changing the colors and everybody changing. It was like, following trends and the trendsetters and who calls the shots and people just following blindly and not thinking for themselves. And when I heard that, because that scene didn't make any sense to me, I'm like, why are they're just following what?
Now it does.
When I heard that criticism and somebody said, this is what that scene is representing. Like people just doing what they're basically being sheep. Go do this, go do that, wear green, wear yellow, wear red. And that all made sense when I seen that. I was like, holy crap, it's smacking me in the face.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't see it. It was the forest through the trees. Sometimes it's so out there, you just don't see it. Real quick, I'll go through the names. Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Nipsey Russell. I love Nipsey Russell ever since I was a kid. And Ted Ross as the Lion.
I love Ted in this.
I know Ted Ross in other stuff, but I don't know what. I know the name, and I can see the guy's face. I'm looking at him going, I know that guy. Couldn't tell you what else he's been in. I grew up with the guy. It's like Nipsey Russell. I asked the old lady last night, I said, what the hell did Nipsey Russell ever do other than be on game shows? And every once in a while show up on Love Boat.
Yeah.
I have no idea. He had to have been like a huge Broadway star.
Yeah.
Because he was funny. He would always be on the Dean Martin roasts, all that shit. And when he roasted you, you stayed roasted because he did it in rhyme. He did it in a rhyme. It was a Broadway play, and I already told you about Diana Ross.
Yeah.
The lead stabbed Barry Gordy in the back. I'm sure that didn't do anything for any relationship they had. Written by Joel Schumacher, Quincy Jones, $24 million. You're right, I don't see it. Especially $24 million in 1976 75 money.
That's $100 million production today. Where the fuck did it go?
I don't see it. I do not see that money in this thing. I really
No,
don't.
not at
Some of the
all.
production pieces were nice.
But it wasn't $24 million worth of stuff.
Wasn't $24 million nice?
Here's just a perfect example. If you take a look behind David right now, he's got all kinds of books, DVDs, everything right there.
Yeah, yeah.
I see a workshop office that's full of stuff. It's obviously worked in, lived in. If this was the Wiz production, there would be a single bookcase back there with 3 books on it, and that would have been it.
You're right. You're right.
That's the only way I can describe it. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
You're right. You're absolutely right. They wouldn't have this much stuff in there.
No.
They just didn't.
You got more stuff behind you than is in the entire movie. The prop department was run out of a small car. And
it was Universal. You would have thought Universal would have been like, hey, don't worry, just go to the warehouse and grab whatever you need. I don't know how movies are done on a big screen, on big stage sounds. I don't know. But it seems to me they have warehouses with clothing in them for costumes. They must have warehouses with shit in them for stuff.
I guarantee on an actual studio lot they do. I've been part of productions that weren't on studio lots, right. And they literally bring in 18-wheelers full of clothes. Yeah. You walk up on there, you're measured, you're fitted, you're everything's there. There's truckloads full of props. Everything is there. It's all mobile. Jesus, they were on a lot. There was no excuse to not have something.
And the fact that there was mostly just the 3 or 4 of them all at the same time for most of the movie, for big chunks of the movie, was very, like, I understand, like, okay, this must have been really low budget. Then I found out it was $24 million. And $24 million was not anything to sneeze at back then.
It's not now.
Well, yeah, but if you had $24 million now doing a budget, they'd consider it a medium to small budget.
Isn't that crazy? I'll take $24,000 to do my next movie.
Imagine what you could do with $10 million or $5 million, or Jesus, I wouldn't even know what to do. I'd be like, I don't need all this money. I can do this without all this. What else? Diana Ross. Here's an interesting thing. Diana Ross is the last person in this cast that's still alive.
Wow. Damn.
Very sad. It was released in 1978. It only made
flop.
21 million. It didn't even make back its budget.
Nope.
Jeffrey Holder, I want to say his name, Jeffrey Holder, was the director on Broadway. He did the clothes design and he was the choreographer. I think he also directed it. When the Broadway play first started, he came on, he was doing stuff and problems happened, he left. They called him back whenever they were failing miserably and they thought they were going to have to close down the show. Jeffrey Holder is the guy in the James Bond movie, not every which way but up, that's Clint Eastwood. I forget which James Bond movie it is.
There's a lot of them.
He's a tall black guy, the bald head. Remember he was the guy that did the lime and the coconut commercial for Sprite or for 7-Up.
Yeah.
He was also.
Yeah. I didn't realize that.
He was the Punjab in Annie.
Huh.
That called it, and I'd seen this guy my whole life growing up. I just thought he was an actor. I did not realize that he was also a dancer. He was a damn good dancer on Broadway. And he was a choreographer. He was a director. He was a freaking clothes designer. Had no idea about him until I watched something last night about him. I was like, holy crap. He was the Broadway guy. This is the guy that they should have brought over and said, here, now you have a movie. Because I sit there and think when I found out about all his talents and what he did for the Broadway production, what he could have done for this movie.
Yeah,
why on God's green earth doesn't Hollywood being stupid and making dumb decisions is nothing new, folks. They've
No,
been
it's
doing
not.
it since at least the 70s.
Since the beginning.
Since
Since
the
the
very beginning.
beginning. Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of bad choices in here. And
Yeah.
I get, look, I get it. I get the studio saying Diana Ross, big fucking name. And if she can
Right.
bring Michael Jackson, we're going to have some. You can't do it on just names alone. And honestly, you
Yeah.
could have if she'd have been 20 years old, playing
Yeah.
a younger,
Probably
even
could have pulled it
younger.
off.
But she came off as, oh my God, dude, I didn't buy it at all.
No. No, that's the thing that kills this movie the most. As a little kid, you might not
Oh, you
notice.
get by that. Yeah, you
But
wouldn't even
yeah,
pay attention to that.
you wouldn't be paying attention. But as an adult, like I pretend to be now, I watched it and it really, I mean, it strikes. It strikes hard because you're just sitting there looking at that going, no, I'm not buying it.
If this movie shaved 45 minutes of it off
Easily.
down to an hour and a
Easily.
half movie, I think it would be better.
Speed
I
up.
do
Speed
feel
up,
the
right?
songs, some of the songs are very long, and it's
Yeah.
the bad songs that are very long, not the
Yeah.
good ones.
They had for that one green, yellow, orange light switch thing, that
Yeah.
whole dance choreography scene had 600 dancers in it. So on the one hand, they put 600 people to work to do that. And I thought that
There's
was
a lot of the budget.
right. That's a big
The
chunk of
dancers,
budget.
all the rehearsals,
Yeah.
all that takes a lot.
Yeah.
But they could do. It's just I think it was just such a neglect to the sets, man.
Yeah.
It hurt. I'd rather just watch it on a stage because it was distracting to have nothing on the fucking set.
I did watch one little clip of a stage play. I guess it was the live television thing. There was a little clip somewhere that I watched of the crows with the scarecrow, and the guy playing the scarecrow that they had in the clip was perfect. And the
Yeah.
scarecrow's in the crow's costumes, they have like these wings that come out. They're almost in tuxedos, but not really tuxedos.
Oh, that's cool. Kind of like they did in the movie. They had a little coat with
It is
tails or
a
whatever.
kick-ass costume that these guys are wearing, and they're singing and they're dancing. And the girl they got playing Dorothy, age appropriate. She's probably 18, 19 maybe. But you can believe that this young kid would drop in, young adult, whatever, would drop in and have the problem. But the sets are like a cartoon version of what you would think cornfields and stuff would look like.
That's cool.
Like the backdrop and everything. It looked awesome. I'm like, why did there's your thing. That's what you needed to do. It just suffers. I think everybody had a grand vision.
Yeah.
But not the talent to pull it off. The only guy who had the talent to pull off what he was doing in this particular section was Stan Winston. That's just my thought.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson, of course, and Nipsey Russell. Like the actors, the other actors, even Diana Ross, had she been 20 years younger, she'd have been perfect.
Yeah, and that's one thing I just want to reiterate. I think she's a great singer. Mm-hmm. She can act. She can dance.
Right.
This is a misstep for her and whoever put her in there, and it's just it doesn't work. You've got the theme of Oz. Now, I have never read Frank Baum's books, and I should, because I understand they're quite interesting. But what I do remember is the original movie,
right,
with Judy Garland and everything, and the whole theme of Oz and finding the scarecrow without a brain and the Tin Man without a heart, the Cowardly Lion, is a very it's a good lesson. It's something that it's very young. It's kids would need to know that, hey, you've got this. It's an uplifting story,
right,
told through. I don't know, man. It just I went into this. I was telling you, it's like, wow, I'm sure there's at least good music in here because I'm thinking, we have a Black Wizard of Oz. Let's go for it, man. And we get a few songs that are reminiscent of the style of music at the time with the funk, great bass, everything. And then
the road was awesome. That's
and then you end up with way too white bread songs that didn't make any sense in here. So
there was a few songs that were just, like you said, just out of place. Shouldn't have been there. They never seemed to fit. It's almost like they shoehorned them in. Like,
Well, one of the
someone
things I
wrote a song. Let's put it in here.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I noticed when I look back at the other musicals that we've watched. I always go to my favorite, which is Grease.
Right.
It's really hard to touch Grease.
Yeah.
And
I'll give you that. It is. It is.
every song has a fucking purpose. Every song
Right.
progresses the story. Here I'm left, how does this tie in? I shouldn't be questioning, you know?
It was the third song before the song tied into what they were doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one when they Munchkins come out and they start
Yes.
singing their song. That's getting her motivated to go do the thing and on the adventure, and you have to go. And that's basically what they're telling her. Go follow the road. Blah blah blah. A lot of the other songs just don't fit. Ease on down the road fit perfectly. The
Yeah.
Lion awkward. The Lion's awkward song, but it worked
But I
because
like it.
because he's telling you what he is.
Yeah.
I'm a coward, but I'm the king of the forest kind of thing.
I'm the
He's
king of
having
the
his
forest. My
moment.
name's Fleetwood Coupe de Ville.
Yeah, Fleetwood Coupe de Ville. I mean, it's just like most of the songs just didn't feel like they fit. You're right. It just it's almost like Schumacher wrote the songs too, but I know he didn't. But yeah, some of them just didn't seem to fit.
Yeah. So,
I would like to see the stage
yeah,
play.
I would too.
It's awesome.
What's your final thoughts on The Wiz? Yay, nay, watch, no?
As a little kid, like if I were to watch this as a little kid now, I'd be like, yeah, I liked it. It was fun. As an adult watching it, knowing that, you have a 33 to 35-year-old woman playing a part that should be for a much younger person, and then knowing what she did to get the role, it's like, you probably won't like it. Most people, I'm guessing, but I enjoyed it. I will tell you right now, I enjoyed it last night when I watched, or the night before when I watched it. I liked it. I found a lot of good things about it. I know I nitpicked through a lot of little shit, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. I will watch this movie again. I don't know when. It's been 40 years since the last time I watched it, so it might be another 40. But I will. I enjoyed it. I won't say no. If somebody's watching it when I walk in, I'll sit my ass down and watch it with them.
I will run fast, far away.
I understand.
Here's my recommendation. I think you can definitely pass on it, but what I would do is I would go on YouTube and I would find the scenes with the Wicked Witch of the West, the Nobody Better Tell Me No Bad News, or Nobody. Yeah, that is a great scene. Watch Michael Jackson's Scarecrow scene. Watch the Lions. I know the song is goofy, but man, I really dug his performance as the Lion. I thought it was really good. He had great movement, great style. He had great energy.
Right.
Those are cool. And Ease on Down the Road. Yeah, I mean everybody knows that song, but I think you could watch that.
The weird thing, we were talking about cinematography, and this is real quick, and then I'm gonna shut up. Ease on Down the Road. No forward shots. They were.
I know everything's shot from the back.
Instead of having them walk towards the camera, dancing and having fun and smiling, they were watching them walk away towards the Emerald City. There were no forward walking shots, and I thought that's a really bad choice.
Yeah.
Personal opinion. You folks watch it. Let us know what you think.
Well, I think that went a lot with so many shots were pulled so far back. They were such long shots that they weren't great, but you've got to cut that shit in. You're making a movie. You're not doing a play. That's why it's like, Sydney, what the fuck were you thinking? I don't know, and like I said, I love Sidney Lumet's work. Dog Day Afternoon is one of my all-time favorite movies. Serpico is another great. Well, I'll put Al Pacino in anything and I'm going to watch it. But I mean, what you going to do? Right. And but for that, for this movie, go check out some YouTube clips. See if you think you might want to watch it. But I don't. No, fuck no. I'll go watch Xanadu again before I ever watch this.
And I like Xanadu too, folks. So
yeah, I do partially. Now. Xanadu went up. I actually enjoy Xanadu now. I was like, that's not so bad.
Like Seven Brothers, Grease. I'm a musical guy. I will jump in there. I'm good. I have no problem. I'll watch it again eventually, but I understand critics and their problems with the movie much better now, especially after I watched it. I'm like, I see what they're talking about. So yeah.
Cool. So great. Hey, if you enjoy us again, hit like, hit subscribe, share, tell a friend, tell somebody. Tune in next week because we've got something coming up. Who knows where we're going to go? So we will catch you next week and just ease on down the road.